Welcome to the Kate Daly Show. So good to see you. You know, I am telling you, last night was really frustrating. I was watching a game where the players wore masks, and come to find out, they were actually not even tackling in practice, and of course, waiting to the game, so they could tackle each other. And I just thought, yes, we've reached that level of stupid. And this is right after the whole NBA, NFL launch into Black Lives Matters, right? And being their official spokespersons for Black Lives Matter. And there's nothing like seeing somebody who's had opportunity given to them and a whole lot of money to wear Black Lives Matters, we're so oppressed bumper sticker on the back of their shirt. I mean, there's just nothing like it, right? It's like, look at me. I am the guy from the ghetto who got this wonderful opportunity in my life, but I'm going to tell you how oppressed I am. Yeah, that makes sense. I really like it when people have opportunity tell me how everyone else is oppressed but them. Then how did they make it? How did the NFL and the NBA and every other sports team make it in society if they're all so oppressed? Oh, that's right. They're all the exception to the rule. How can you all be an exception to the rule? So, I started thinking about this, and it was like, okay, how in the world did they actually become the spokespersons for this movement? And so it started out with Kaepernick, and there was a wonderful piece in the American Thinker, and it had this to say: had the geniuses who run the NFL understood anything about America and put a stop to Kaepernick on-field preening 40 years ago, we wouldn't be where we are today. Isn't that the truth? Freedom of speech had nothing to do with anything. Kaepernick had and has every right to say what's on his mind. Why he doesn't on the football field, who knows? But the NFL, however, did not have to allow him to hijack its platform to trumpet it. And had they not helped him become a media darling, which he became, high spokesman for Nike and $1 gazillion, he probably wouldn't have walked away from his multi-million-dollar contract and became the least worthy martyr in the history of martyrs. Yeah, the guy's a punk, right? I wouldn't want to go to lunch with the guy. Why? He was raised in an affluent neighborhood. He was raised in a white family and given all of this opportunity and then craps on it by going out in the football field and kneeling, right? To bring message of awareness to how blacks are oppressed in this nation and are treated so badly, except for him. He's not treated badly. And nobody he went to high school with was treated badly, really, right? And went to college with because, wasn't treated badly again. But we're supposed to believe that he's the spokesman, right? And that's what kind of kicked all this off. And the reason, not the reason, but they let him get away with it. What's really amazing was he wanted to bring this message and drive this message home that they were treated so differently by the police and so differently in America that he wanted to raise awareness, although it didn't raise awareness, did it? In fact, far from it, really. It just sort of ruined sports. That's all it really did, because then everything became political. And now they have political messages right on their jerseys, right? It's kind of disgusting because nobody wants to mix political with anything else. Nobody wants to mix political with sports. And you have all these people in America, like middle America, who were the ones that actually were going to buy the tickets, right, to the games, because your 20-somethings don't have any extra money. Except those living in their parents' basement, I guess, to buy tickets to all these games, right? The fans, right? And buy all of their products. But the white guys that are really their substantial base, white and black, right? The middle of the road guy doesn't want to see these messages mixed. So we're coming into this really weird realm where people are just not even interested in watching it. Between COVID, no fans in the stands, and pictures of fans, to political messaging every 5 minutes. Nobody wants to see it anymore, and everybody's turning it off, which they should. It will teach them a good lesson. So then you start to go, okay, well, why are they doing this? Why are they suddenly the spokesman? Well, if I went back to, like, say, 2000 or 1970, let's go to 1970 to 2017. In 1970, all gun-related deaths in America, when they say gun-related, they're not talking about murder, because murder is actually far below. It's like 13,000 out of 331 million people a year, okay? It's so far under 1% that it's 0.004, okay? So we're not all dying from gun murders, as the leftists would want you to think. But In 1970, there was 12 people for every 100,000 people. That's a lot of people that were in a gun-related accident that caused death or murder. Okay, because they lump them all together, even suicide, right? Then, now if you go ahead and you compare 1970 to 2017, guess what the overwhelming difference is? 2. I know, 2. So 12, now it's 14 per 100,000. Nothing much has changed in America, except the demonization, right, of guns. But we could get into that, and it's a whole different show. But isn't it interesting that with those kinds of numbers, okay, that nothing much has changed except the messaging. The messaging, the political nature of everything, it's driving everybody insane. And Black Lives Matters, what is her name? Alicia Garza. Alicia Garza is one of the founding members of this, and she describes herself as queer, social justice activist who reveres the Marxist revolutionary former Black Panther and convicted cop killer Assata Shakur for her contributions to the Black liberation movement. By the way, this is a chick that was raised in a pretty nice area by some Jewish parents in L.A. who went to San Diego University. Pretty elite, pretty, not too oppressed, but she's one of the founders of Black Lives Matters. And then, of course, jumped in to give the messaging, right? And so she likes her Black Marxist lesbian feminist, let's say. And she's also an interesting cat because really what their message is really about when you get right down to it is get rid of capitalism. I know it sounds weird, but Black Lives Matters is all about get rid of capitalism and also to defund the police. Defund the police. Popular demand, right? Except there's way more to it than that, I think. As far as this goes, it was set federal standards for police behavior, not local city standards or county standards or state standards, federal standards to federalize the police departments, and then also even more so than they already are, and then establish local civilian-run police accountability boards, right? I see a problem with that. And then ban chokeholds and strangulation holds. Okay, you can see that. But pass a bill to make public the records of police brutality, right, and lethal force. This is really their messaging, of course, and it has to do with Trump, too. But think about it this way, okay? Defund the police. What does defund the police do in a COVID era? Let's bring these two together. And I credit Catherine Austin Fitts for this. But she talked about the fact that defund the police is about diverting money and power away from the police into social services. Why do they want social services to get the money? That would go to the police departments, okay? Because combined with COVID tracing, the social service entities that also partner with defense contractors, they get this money, and because of the contact tracing, they become the new Gestapo. So asset forfeiture back in the mid 80s, when this was decided this was going to go through, right? At the same time as the Vaccine Liability Act. So all this stuff kind of went through in the mid 80s. But that's what gave the defense contractors the ability to set up a network of financial gain through the police departments, right? But then if you defund the police, the money that was set up that goes through them for asset forfeiture ends up streamlining itself to social services and COVID tracing. You see a problem with that? They become the new Gestapo. There are some huge, huge problems. Look, there's nothing more than I want to see than politics mixed with my sports. Not that I'm the biggest sports fan, but I'd love to be able to turn on the TV where every single message was not about politics, right? Not everything was about politics. But these guys, these elitists, will sit there and tell you that everyone else is oppressed but them. Then how in the world did they get all their opportunities? And they keep getting their opportunities. Look at how many individuals are black in our country that are millionaires, billionaires, famous. And guess what, folks? Only 13% of our entire country is black. That's a whole lot of representation. Oh my gosh, we even had a black president. And that didn't stop anything, right? That didn't stop their messaging. Their messaging has only gotten worse through the years. I'm telling you, we have a huge problem with our perception of what's going on. Our nation is not in conflict right now over race. That was a long time ago, but the propaganda is the gift that just keeps on a giving. And it keeps on a giving now in sports, in everything we watch, movies, you name it. I'm tired of it. I know you're tired of it. Let it die already and get beyond it, because this thing ended so long ago, but it's the only way they can create division in our nation. And ruining sports is just the one thing I guess they're going to end up doing that's going to end up being the thing that falls. Who knows? But I know that so many people don't want to buy tickets to this. They don't want to see this nonsense, and they don't want to see somebody making millions of dollars a year wearing their brand new Nikes, parading around with all their gear that was given to them and telling everybody that nobody gets opportunity and everyone's oppressed. There's a problem. We have a huge, huge problem with this. Go to KateDalleyRadio.com for more. I'm tired of it. You're tired of it. I wish they'd stop, but they're not. They're going to end up ruining sports completely. Probably everything else, even the media. I don't even care about going to the movies anymore. This is how obnoxious this is getting. Stop making everything some political weaponry, because that's exactly what Black Lives Matter wants. They want to infiltrate that message. They want it. They're violent and they're thugs. And you know what? They're absolutely supported by the Communist Party for what they want, for the things that they want. And start thinking ahead about their messaging. What do they really want from defund the police? What do they really want from their movement? Because I can tell you something. If you really look at the data, sorry, but the data doesn't add up, and it doesn't point to what they're saying it points to. And all I see is a bunch of violence coming from them. Sounds more like a terrorist organization in the middle of the United States. That's what it sounds like to me. Anyways, go to KateDalleyRadio.com. Subscribe below. I want to see your comments. Oh, boy, we got a big problem, America. Bye, you guys.